is going on YouTube? The Assist Man, and yes, I'm coming back at you guys with another YouTube video. Inside of this video, man, the gameplay you're going to be watching is me just going around doing some things in Destiny 2. And that is going to be the topic of this video, and what I am going to talk about. Is Destiny 2 worth playing in the end of 2019, going into 2020, if you've never played the game before, and looking at it from a perspective of a brand new player to the game? So, some of you guys may or may not know I started playing Destiny 2 pretty much full-time about 3 weeks ago, and yeah, I'm really enjoying and loving the game. But what I want to do inside of this video, as I just got done saying, is I want to give you guys a review of the game and what I think is important in the game and the stuff you can do based upon a new player's perspective. Because a lot of other people that make videos for, Destiny, they've been making videos for Destiny for years. I started playing Destiny back in like May of 2019, but I only played it for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then kind of gave up on it and never played it again until about 3 weeks ago. So, this is going to be my perception of a new player to the game and the things that Destiny 2 has to offer, and with the things that I think is a major selling point of the game. More or less my full review of it so far. So first of all, let's go ahead and get right into it. The game is free to play. So right then and there, you should have, no worries about actually playing the game. I mean, it's free to play. You have nothing to lose financially by trying or playing this game. About a couple weeks ago, Destiny actually went free to play. Before that, it was a paid game, but now it is a free to play game, not only available on consoles, but also on PC. It's available on PC, it's available on Xbox, it's available on PlayStation, and it's free to play for every single platform. So a cool thing about it being free to play is that now, if you were ever thinking about playing or trying Destiny in the past, and you didn't want to spend, the $60 on buying the full game, or even if you got it on sale for like $30 or $40, now you could just jump right on your console or on your computer, you could download the game, and you could play it for free. Now, the free-to-play version of the game does not come with everything that the game has to offer, but it does come with a big majority of the things. The things that you're not going to be getting are the brand new Shadowkeep DLC with the Moon Planet, some specific raids, and other, things that are associated with the DLCs of the game, as well as DLC-specific exotic weapons and so on and so forth, and legendary weapons. There are certain, pieces of gear and weapons and playlists and certain maps and raids and stuff that you could only do if you have the new DLC. But for the most part, you could pretty much do almost anything that the game has to offer in the free-to-play version of the game, which is really cool. Another thing that they do offer in this game is called a Season Pass. You could kind of think of it like a Fortnite, because I know a lot of people have played Fortnite. You could kind of think of it as Fortnite's Battle Pass, even though Destiny actually did it before Fortnite all along, long time ago, back in Destiny 1, but they do have what they call a Season Pass, and there is a free version of it that will award you with all kinds of different things, like engrams that you can get different ships and vehicles and emotes and cosmetic items from, and there is a paid version of it which costs $10 for the entire season, and that basically is going to give you the same exact stuff but a lot more. You can get a specific Season Pass exotic weapon, you can get specific Season Pass legendary cosmetic gear, and so on and so forth. Another thing that I want to touch on in this game, and this is a big one to me, especially being a console player, is the graphics. The graphics in Destiny 2 are some of the best graphics that I have ever seen in my entire life playing a video game on the Xbox One X. I've played a lot of games on my console, and this is by far one of the most crispest games I've ever seen. The shadowing looks beautiful, the detailing looks beautiful, the colors look beautiful. It's 4K, HDR, the whole nine. The graphics on this game just look beautiful. There's no lag in it. There's no sluggish screens like I had to deal with in Borderlands 3. When you go to click on something, it just works instantaneously. You click on one page, you're there. You click on something, it shows it. There's no sluggish screens. There's no lag. There's no just BS in this game at all that I've seen with a lot of other games when it comes from like a graphical standpoint of actually looking at how good the game looks, but also looking at how well things work inside of the game. It just feels like a polished game, which is awesome. Another thing that Destiny 2 has to offer if you're a new player and, and you like to do, certain things, if you're a PvP player or if you're a PvE player, Destiny 2 has both of them, and they do both of them very, very well. There's a really, really big community and a lot of content for both the PvE and the PvP aspects of the game. There's the PvE where you actually go and fight, your campaign missions. You do like your bounties, which you could do every week to get more XP and get specific reagents you need to upgrade things. And there's also raids you can do. There's also dungeons you can do. There are also nightfalls and strikes you can do. And that's all part of the PvE, which you can do either by yourself with a fire team of up to 3 players, or raids have fire teams up to 6 players. Now, when you talk about PvP, you basically just have PvP, but there are a lot of different ways of playing it. You have the actual Crucible playlist where it's just standard PvP, and there are games, just Team Slayer, Capture the Flag, Domination. There's special game modes that they bring into the game once every week that have specific type things, like this week's one where you get your supercharge back really, really quickly. Last week's one was something where you played with rocket launchers only. Next week's one is going to be different from the 2 previous, and they switch it out every single week, which is really, really cool. And then there's kind of like another aspect of the game, which I'm playing right now in the gameplay you're watching. This is called a Gambit game. And what Gambit is, it's PvE and PvP mixed together with one another. Basically, you have 2 teams of 4 players. You go up against each other to try to kill the same type of enemies in a map. Even though you're on different maps, you're killing the same type of enemies. Those enemies will then drop these white things you've seen on the ground called motes, and then basically the goal is to take these motes back to this bank right there, and then what you're going to go ahead and do is deposit them. The first team, I'm not going to go into detail about how it works, but basically the first team to deposit 75 motes will be able to summon what they call a prime evil, which is like a big boss. But then the first team to kill their big boss wins that round, and it's the best out of 3, so you have to win 2 rounds in order to win the game. But what brings the PvP element into it is that you can invade the other team's side and kill them. And that's good for 2 reasons. And what that does is, if somebody you kill on the opposing team when you invade them has a bunch of motes, they lose all their motes. And what that does then is that sets back their team from depositing some and calling out their prime evil, so it sets them back. Another thing is that if the enemy team was to have their prime evil out and you kill one of the people on the enemy team, it heals the prime evil, making it take much, much longer for the enemy team to kill it. It could really turn the tides of some games, and I've had it happen to me in a good way and in a bad way multiple times. Now let's talk about the campaign. I'm just going to sum it up as the campaign is great. There's tons and tons of different areas. There's tons of different planets that you go to. And on each and every single planet, you're going to be doing things like patrols and activities you can do that are small little missions. And then every single planet also has a main mission for that planet and a main campaign story mission for that planet as well. The campaign of the game offers a ton of content, and it's really, really, really good. So that's the campaign. Then, like, going back to what I just said, I want to talk about there's a lot of stuff to do in this game. There is just a ton of different modes in the game, whether you're a PvE or a PvP player, or you like to do both. There's raids, which you can do with 6 players. There's strikes, which are like mini kind of like dungeons, which you can do with up to 3 players. There are actually strikes themselves. There are nightfalls, which are harder versions of strikes. There are dungeons, which are much, much harder versions of 3-player content. There's the Crucible with all the different modes in the Crucible that you can play. There is Gambit, which you see me playing now, which is PvE and PvP mixed. There is an arena mode with the new DLC, the Vex Offensive, where you play 6v6. Where you play with 6 players, 6 random players. You could bring your own team of 6 players in, and it's kind of like a longer strike itself, more than like a raid. There is just a ton of different modes in this game that will keep any player, whether it be a PvE or a PvP player, kind of wanting to play the game. Now let's talk about gear and weapons. There are a ton. There's a ton of different gear and weapons for each and every class. There are 3 different classes in the game that you could start out with. One of them called a Titan, the other one called a Hunter, and the other one called a Warlock. And there are specific drops for each one of those classes, and there's tons of gear. You have your standard white gear, which is common, then you have your standard green gear, which is uncommon, and then you have your blue gear, which is rare, and then in this game they call purple gear legendary. So legendary gear in this game is purple, and then there is a higher tier of gear. It's like a golden or a yellow type gear called exotic, and exotic is some of the best gear in the game, giving you specific perks and stuff on it that could either benefit your class or one of your abilities that you're trying to use for your class. Now, you can only equip one exotic gun at a time and one exotic piece of gear or armor at a time. I would like to see them actually allow you to equip 2 things maybe on each side, but you know, then it'd have to deal with balancing issues and so on and so forth. But there is a lot of different gear in this game. There's different guns for every single type of playstyle. There's pistols, sidearms, SMGs, revolvers, hand cannons, assault rifles, snipers, grenade launchers, rocket launchers, swords, you name it, bows. You name it, the game has it. There's a lot of different diversity to what kind of weapons that you can play with, and then there are a ton of different weapons. There's probably like over 20 different SMGs, over 20 different auto rifles, over 20 different sniper rifles. There's so many different things as when it comes to gear and weapons that you have a lot of choices. And then on top of that, you're able to get specific roles and specific parts on guns, making them different from one another. So you can have 2 different auto rifles, but one of them could be a lot better because it has different perks and different roles and different attachments on it. So there's a lot of choices you have. There's a lot of different abilities for each class as well. Like I said, there are 3 classes in the game, and each one of those classes has 3 different skill trees that you can go down, and they also have 3 different grenades for each class as well for each one of those abilities. So you could play a lot of different ways in this game. If you want to play, you could either play a void damage class with 3 different options for that. You could play an arc like lightning damage class and throw lightning grenades, and 3 different options for that. And then you could play the other one as well, which is what they call solar, which is fire. So you could throw fire grenades and do fire damage as well. And there's 3 different options for what type of fire grenade and what type of fire abilities and so on and so forth that you want as well. So obviously, I've said a lot of positives in this game, and I've talked about a lot of the positives so far. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk about the main things that I dislike about the game, and honestly, it's really limited, and it's only a few things. The number one thing that I don't like about this game, basically I have 2 gripes with this game, and they both come down to actually playing with friends and teammates and so on and so forth, and that is fire teams for strikes and nightfalls and, you know, other things in the game, dungeons. They're limited to 3 people only. Now, I really think that they either need to increase the amount of people that can do the nightfalls and the strikes and stuff like that, or come up with different type of PvE scenarios where you can matchmake 4 games and play with up to 6 people. Because going into my next point of why I see this as a problem is the raids. The raids is the number one thing that I dislike about the game. Now, the reason I say that is because with raids, you have to have 6 people. So raids are 6-person fire teams, but here's the thing, is that you cannot matchmake 4 raids. So if you want to play a raid, you either need to find 5 other friends or players to play the raid with you, or you need to be in a clan and then go ahead and find a raid with your clan. And it's not that easy to join clans in this game. You actually have to go online or use the Destiny companion application. And that's one thing I forgot to mention. I do want to mention real fast. This game has another really cool feature to it called the Destiny app, or the Destiny companion app, where it's an app you can download for your Android or your iPhone device. And it will actually allow you to match with players. You can find games, you could view your gear, you could look at stuff on your character, so on and so forth. It's a really great thing that I've never seen before in another game have such, like, you know, an immersive app to go along with the game and do so much. But going back to my part about the raids is that you can't matchmake for them. If you wanted to play a Nightfall or a Strike, you can, and you're by yourself and you don't have any friends or people on that you're going to play with, you can still go in and play it and it'll just matchmake you with, 2 other people, which is cool. But if you want to play a raid, it is no matchmaking in it at all. So basically, you're kind of screwed and you have to find people to play with. Now, a lot of people don't have friends and a lot of people don't have, clans. And like I said, I'm looking at this from the new player perspective as a new player because, Lord knows there are a ton of new players in this game right now since it went free to play with the new Shadowkeep DLC and the new Moon expansion and everything. But more or less since the game went free to play, there are a ton of new players in this game right now. So a lot of these players, they're not going to have friends to play with. They're not going to have people to play with, and they're not going to be a part of a clan and not really understand the game, and they're gonna want to take part and understand and play and have fun in the raids, and they basically cannot because you cannot matchmake for them. So here's the bad thing: if you have a group of 4 players, a group of 4 friends, and you want to play the raids, you're gonna be short 2 people and you can't matchmake for it. But here's the other thing: the raids take a long time to do and it's very, very challenging. So not every person can do them right off the bat. Now, if you have a group of, say, you do have 6 friends that you play with every single day, and you guys all want to run something together, your only option outside of PvP is to play the raid. Now, the raids, especially for new players, take a really, really, really long time, and they're very hard to complete for new players. The reasoning is it's not just like a standard, mission or dungeon or Nightfall Strike where you go in and just kill stuff. They're very intricate, and you actually have to use your brain, and it's kind of like puzzle solving. And a lot of people can't understand and what to do or know what they are doing, so it's going to take most teams hours upon hours to do these raids if you've never done them before as being new players. And that kind of sucks because now you have a group of 6 people and the only thing that they could do is play raids together because they can't do Nightfalls, they can't do Strikes, they can't do Gambits because those, maps and those game modes are only limited to 3 players, and 4 players. So now either they got to break apart or they got to go play a raid, which they might give up on because it takes too long. So what I would really, really love to see in this game is another 6-player type thing, like a raid, but maybe like something bigger than a raid. I think that they did it really, really cool with the Vex Offensive Arena mode. Now, the Vex Offensive is exactly what I'm talking about. It's what they call an arena mode where you can matchmake and you could just play by yourself and it'll find you 5 other players. It's 6 players on a fire team. The only thing, though, is that it's only one option. You just have that one Vex Offensive Arena. There are no other arenas to play, so after you play it a couple of times, it kind of gets boring. And the big part is there's not really any good rewards that come from the Vex Offensive, where unlike the raids, you can get a lot of good rewards like specific legendary gear and weapons, as well as pinnacle gear from completing specific ones throughout the week, and so on and so forth. So running the Vex Offensive Arena is not as rewarding. The raids are very rewarding, so I would really like to see them just have some modes where you can play with 6 people more that are not raid related, as well as them having the matchmaking enabled so new players can actually play with, bigger groups and do bigger activities. And honestly, that's really my only gripe with the game. I talked about everything I like about the game. I think that the game is completely amazing and I'm enjoying it and having a lot of fun with the game. And over the past 3 weeks I've been playing it now, I've been learning an immense amount of information and knowing now a lot about the game. About the mod system, about just everything in the game now. I've been learning so much more by playing it every day, and I will have a lot more Destiny 2 videos coming out in the future now that I'm starting to understand the game and everything, revolving and evolving around the game. But basically, to sum it up, is Destiny 2 worth playing from a new player's perspective? If you're a new player to the franchise, you never played Destiny before, absolutely 100% yes. Like I said, not only is it free to play, so you have nothing to lose, but it's a great game. Even if the game was not free to play and it was a $30 or $60 game, I would still tell you that as a new player, it's worth playing and it's worth getting into because it's that good of a game. But being that it's free to play, you can't lose. The graphics are great. You don't have any lag issues, no sluggish screens, no lag in the screens. It's a polished game. You have a lot of different modes in the game that cater to PvE and PvP. Lots of different gear in the game, lots of different weapons, multiple different classes with lots of different abilities. Like I said, the only thing that I dislike about it is that I feel that it's a little limited for people to actually play bigger, type things, bigger fire team events like raids when they don't have clans, they're not members of clans, they don't have friends, because a lot of new players don't. And that's really about it. So if you were thinking about playing Destiny 2, or if you did not know that Destiny 2 is now free to play everywhere, go ahead and download the game and play it. And let me know in the comment section if you enjoy it. And if you are a Destiny 2 player and you just started playing the game over the past couple of weeks or since it went free to play, let me know in the comments section as well. How are you liking the game? What are the things you like about the game? What are the things you dislike about the game? And let me know, most of all, how are you enjoying the game? Because I am loving the game and I'm so glad I started playing it. So anyway, man, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. And if you did, do not forget to hit that thumbs up like button. And if you have not subscribed to my channel and you're looking for some more, Destiny videos, which I'll have in the future, as well as other things that I cover from other games in life, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So anyway, YouTube, this is the Assist Man, and until next time, I am out.